Each week, Jay and I sit down here and kind of kick around some of the things that you might be thinking about and wondering about when it comes to your retirement and how we might be able to solve that. And if you're looking for somebody to talk through it with you, Jay is right here. Jay, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really well, Randy. How have you been?
I've been good. Working our way through summer, and I'm a granddad now. I'm a grandpa, so
Congratulations.
I've got two granddaughters now, and one is going to school this fall for the very first time.
Wow.
So big school now. So
Okay.
your kids are much younger. They're 2 and 4.
That's
so
right.
You're not quite there yet, are you?
No, we've got the summer taken care of for now, at least. that will be changing. Yeah, I'll be joining you in your situation pretty soon.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. But it's busy for you for sure, keeping those two going. That is for sure. Well, what we talk about is you being busy in retirement and you doing the things that you want to do and having the money that you want to do it with. But here's something that is actually very common. If you're a person who have saved well for retirement, and many people who walk through the doors at Secure Financial Management have saved really well, then they have a hard time going to that next step of spending money in retirement. So here's a study that I just found, and they asked people how you withdraw from your retirement accounts. 52% of people said, only if I need to. 30% said, I never touch them. And number 3, 16% said, systematically and regularly, I take money out of my retirement accounts. So, Jay, what's the problem here? Why aren't people spending that money that they're saving? It's as if they're scared to spend.
Well, that was going to be my first response to you. Is it's nervousness, right? It's fear of the unknown. We don't know our life expectancy. We don't know what market conditions are going to be like for the future, and we deal with people that are making the life change from work life into retirement every day. And when you work with those people over and over again, you start to kind of get a sense of what they're going through mentally, emotionally as that change is starting to happen. And you've got to think of it this way, right? You're going from an environment where for the last 30, 40, whatever multiple decades it is that you've been working, where there's been a paycheck coming in and you have been building up your wealth, building up your retirement and saving. And now that is basically the opposite once we get to retirement, right? Where we don't have that paycheck coming in anymore. We know that we're not going to be adding to our retirement account. If we're taking distributions, we're pulling from it, right? We're going to decrease it. And we've also lost the element of time, right? I had a conversation in this kind of mindset with a client just last week. And I can't remember how old they are. They're early 60s, right? And we're talking about the markets. We're talking about, hey, should we kind of guarantee any of the investments we have now? Should we not? Kind of different pros and cons for different ways to act. And as we kind of fleshed out the concerns that they had, I said, this is basically your concern, right? I said, back in 2008, during the financial crisis, right? You saw your 401k basically go in half. They're like, yeah, that's right. I said, however, I was just doing some quick math in my head, and I said, you were like in your mid 40s at that point, right? They're like, yeah, somewhere in my mid 40s. I said, okay. So I'm sure you didn't like to see your 401k go in half. However, you weren't going to be using it for quite a while. In fact, you could almost look at it as an opportunity, because I said, you kept contributing, right? Yeah, I kept contributing. Your employer kept matching, right? Yeah, the employer kept matching as well. So it was an opportunity for you to buy in at a low time. And then, it took a while. It was 2.5, 3 years, 4 years, whatever it was. And the market recovered and you got back on your way and it was all fine, right? Like, yeah. I said, that's not your situation now though, is it? Right? That happens again. And your investment portfolio goes in half. Well, we're taking distributions from it. The money's got to come from somewhere, right? We've got to keep living. We've got expenses that we've got to pay. And you're going to be depleting your account also while it's depressed. I said, we're going to be kind of kicking that thing in the ribs, while it's down if that event plays out. And look, I'm not saying there's another 2008 event. I hope there is not, because my life gets a lot more difficult in those situations, right? But I said, is that painting a picture of what your concern is? And they're like, that's basically exactly what my concern is. Just verbalized very well. That's why people have the concern with the money.
I had an experience where a friend of mine, we went out to lunch and we went to the burger place and we saw somebody in line who we knew. And her name is Pat. And we went up and said hi to Pat. And we said, how's it going? And she looked at us and she goes, January 29th.
I already know what that date is. Go ahead.
I said, what's that? And she goes, the day I retire.
Yep.
And I'm scared to death.
Yep.
And it's the word terrified sometimes comes up when you read retirement articles. And you talk about somebody who's 40 years old. I want you, if you're 40 years old or in there and you're listening right now, I want you to imagine this. Tomorrow, somebody comes to you and says, this is your last paycheck. For the rest of your life, this is your last paycheck. How are you going to feel? And you'll be scared to death. You're going to, where's the next money coming from? Well, this is exactly what retirees are experiencing. This is your last paycheck. From this point forward, it's up to you. And we're scared to death.
You got to make your own paycheck.
Yes.
Figure out your own paycheck. That's kind of what you're transitioning into, yeah.
Right. So when you say, I got to make my own paycheck, so now you've got this thing called a 401k, and you think, well, what happens when I start pulling out of that? Well, what if you had a strategy where that money kicked off income every month, like you're getting another check, like a Social Security check? Now you're starting to feel like, okay, my bucket's not completely emptying every month. There's more money going in. That's going to make me feel a little bit better, Jay.
Yeah, and I think it comes full circle back to what we were talking about, right? Fear to spend because of all those unknown things that we've already discussed, right? But if I know I've got my Social Security, right, and I've got some other form of paycheck, pension, whatever it is else coming in, and I know that I can depend on that, no matter what happens in the markets, I'm free to spend that, right? I know if I hit another 2008 event, my investment's going to go down. Are you going to like that? No. Is it going to change your lifestyle or how long you can afford to live? No. And there's freedom in that.
Yeah. We got to have confidence to spend. Yeah. And I think that's one of the reasons that people will sit down with someone like you is, I want confidence. I want to see it on paper that I'm going to be okay. And that's, I think, the confidence that you're looking for. And that comes with some math. So give us a look on our website. Give us a call. Let's sit down and talk through it. Our website is retire210.com, retire210.com, or give us a call at 210-985-6200. 210-985-6200. Let's make an appointment with Jay, sit down with the team, and do the math on your retirement, knowing that you can get the confidence to spend, knowing you're going to be okay. I think that's what we're all looking for. We want to give you that confidence. Again, 210-985-6200.